It was 2017, and the big thing I was a part of was affiliate marketing. I remember one of the key things that they always talked to us about was attraction marketing, right? Back then, attraction marketing was a really big thing. And so I learned that you have three different things, levels of people, is you have attracting people where you attract them, where you nurture them, and you convert them, also known as top, middle, and bottom funnel. If that's something that if you've never heard of the attract, nurture, and convert. The thing is that I got really good at the concept of attraction. Like I understood it right away. I knew what it meant. I knew exactly what they were trying to tell me that I needed to do. But the problem was I had no strategy behind the type of platform that I needed to be at. I was just on Facebook back then. One thing I noticed about the attract or top funnel was I needed to understand not only what it was, but where my people were hanging out that I needed to show up and attract them there. I needed to understand where was the place that my people were hanging out the most. And that's exactly what I want to break down for you today. Because if your content isn't attracting anyone, it's probably not a content problem, it's a placement problem. What's up, and welcome to the Rise to Alignment podcast. I'm your host, Elizabeth Graham, content messaging and positioning strategist for service-based business owners. Since 2024, I've helped over a dozen women get clear on who their people are and be able to convert their content into paid clients. And if you have not done so, go ahead and make sure you subscribe to this podcast and review it. This helps this podcast get to so many more people to help them create a messaging that turns their content into clients. I want to talk about how you have to know exactly where it is that your people are hanging out in order for you to attract them and start calling in your people. And I'm going to show it to you in three different parts. One, we're going to talk about finding that platform that is your top funnel or your attract platform. Two is what to post there that is different and starts to really call in and make someone go, oh my gosh, like I would need to follow her. I need to be where she's at. And then the third one is just being consistent and understanding that it's not an algorithm problem, it's a messaging problem. So let's talk about finding that attract platform or top funnel platform that you're going to be using to attract your people. There are multiple different platforms. So you know all the platforms. If you've been online just within the last, 10, 15 years, but there's specific platforms that are better at attracting your people than others. Not every single one of them is equal because you'll have some that are your discovery platforms, which are the platforms where people find you. And then you have the ones where you build the relationship, which we're going to talk about next week. And that is where you deepen your trust with people and where you start to really connect more with them. The top funnel or attract platform is going to be the one where people find you. It's going to be the one where your people can go and see all your posts. And a lot of people back in the days, like in 2017, for a lot of us, that was Twitter, which is now X, which is a crazy platform now. But back then, that was where a lot of us would just post 10. Back then, it was 10 to 20 times a day because you wanted to get eyeballs, people with you. But there was ways to like post. It was more of like a post and ghost. Like nowadays, because we're in a completely different era, people want to post and connect. They don't want you to post and ghost. They want you to connect. So we'll get to that part. But your top funnel is where your strangers will find you and they'll look at your content and be like, okay, I want to follow her and I want to get to know her more. For me, it's Threads. Threads is, since I joined in November of 2023, I had no intention of it being a business platform. I really was just interested in seeing what all the hype was because it had started in July. I had wanted to kind of know about it back in July, but not a lot. There wasn't even a lot of people there. And so when I started in November, I just really started engaging with people. And I remember it was a week before Thanksgiving. And like I spent all week like getting to know people, talking with people. Was really fun. And it still is really fun. But I didn't understand if that's where my people were. I was just using it just to use it. And over time, I started getting leads. I started getting clients. And that is where the big bulk of my clients come from. Like about 90% of my clients all come from there. Now, for you, that could be Instagram, but it could be TikTok. It could be Facebook. But where you have to really think about is where are you getting the most reach from people who don't know you? For instance, for me, On Instagram, I think I have 20,000 views in a month. But on Threads, my highest peak month was 1.2 million views in one single month. That tells me that Threads is where I am getting a ton of eyeballs. But you got to remember with Threads, most of your views will be from controversial like takes or replies or engagement or anything like that. So for me, when I got that 1 point something million views, I remember hitting that and being completely shocked. It was because I posted something controversial. So remember, you want to get the right eyeballs and you want to attract the right people. So take that into consideration too when you reply and you engage over there. So this Threads and your attract platform or top funnel platform is where you post for volume and visibility, meaning we're posting a lot there. We're engaging a lot there. We are mostly spending the bulk of our time there to have that visibility. And so next week, we'll talk about the nurture side and what to post and how to actually engage and connect with people and nurture them on your nurturing platform. So you basically want to drive every single person from Threads. Let's say I'll use mine, Threads, for example. I connect with people, I engage with them, but I instantly drive them over to Instagram for my nurture. And so next week, I'll show you how to do that. But you really just want to get a bunch of eyeballs and people there to drive them to where you can build the relationship with them. And so you want to make sure, though, the number one lesson I want you to take off of this simple part is you want to make sure it's the top funnel or the attract part of your strategy for your messaging, which I'll go into right now a little bit more in depth, is you want to make sure it's where your people are at. It is extremely important to find where your people hang out. You have to be in the right space to drive them to your nurturing platform. Because if you're in the wrong space, you'll attract the wrong clients and then you'll wonder why your posts aren't converting. So, and I'll tell you what, and we're going to talk about what posts to hit, but as you know where your people hang out, you can spend bulk of your time there. But if you don't know who your specific people are, like who are they, what are their pain points, what do they struggle with, and how do you solve it? That's not going to matter at all. And so that's why the Spark the Conversation Challenge is so important, because it teaches you in 5 days the exact words your people use, and it teaches you the exact language you can use in your post to start attracting them. And so if that's something you're interested in, go ahead and click the link down below in the show notes for you to take that free 5-day challenge. It is through email and you get a video along with steps and work and basically homework to do, because I'm not someone who's going to give you all this information without the implementation. That's useless. So every single day for 5 days, you implement, you take the steps to get to know your people and to find your people and to know the language. Because if you do not speak to them, like them, and saying the words that they say, they're not going to know that you're for them. And so that's why I created this challenge. It's down in the show notes for you to get access to the email challenge. What you post is going to be different. The message will still, they stay the same, but your content is going to be different because in the attract part, you focus more on the part of the buyer's journey that's like problem awareness. You are telling them like who they are, like the ideal client, like this is who you want to work with. You are a mom with multiple children trying to juggle your business, your household, and you have decision fatigue. So your business always falls at the end and you're wondering why you can't stay consistent. You know, that's your ideal client. Or you're a service-based business owner who is struggling with turning your content into clients and you can't convert them because you don't know what to say. Or you're a service-based business owner who's overwhelmed and you freeze every time you create content because you don't know what to say that's going to bring in the right people. That's your ideal client. Then you have the client journey part. This is the stuff that your people have tried. So you've tried the hook hacks, you've tried the codes, you've tried trying to crack a code, you've tried strategies, you've tried webinars, masterclasses, but yet you still don't have the clear words that are going to call your people in, and you can't seem to create content that sounds like you. Stuff like that. Or, you know, you've tried the Notion templates, you've tried the ClickUp templates, and yet you still wonder every single day, what are you supposed to be doing? Even though you have a journal or even though you have a planner, and you just can't seem to figure out what to say. These are different things that your people have tried. So when you're creating content for the nurturing part of it. This is the part that is going to be the relationship part. This is where you go in deep with them, and it does one thing. It makes someone curious enough to follow you or click your profile. Now, for me, that's Instagram. That's where I bring people over, and I'll teach you next week the type of like different platforms for nurturing, but this is specifically what I do is I bring people over to my Instagram and I talk to them in the DMs, or I engage in their stories, or I engage in their profile. For you, that might be email. For you, that might be a podcast. For you, that could be a platform. Maybe it's a Facebook group, like something like that. But this is where your people just get to know you. So when you have your attraction content, it is not going to be the same as nurturing. Nurturing is to build that relationship and build that trust. And that's what I'm going to teach you next week when we talk about that nurturing side. But attraction content does one thing. It makes someone curious enough to follow you or want to click your profile and get to know you through that a little more. And when you're creating content, that's goes with your message. You want stuff that makes it relatable for them, where they feel like, oh my God, same, relatable. Like, oh my God, I'm going through that. I went through that. Things like that. It's relatable content that just makes someone feel like they know you and that they want to follow you to get to know you a little deeper. It's also those opinions or hot takes that you just want to talk about that's within your niche. So systems and automations, or if you're a graphic designer or a video editor, you can talk about some things that you see you don't like or things that you do like. And this is the type of stuff that you post inside of your attract/top funnel, is those things that make someone say like, I want to work with her, or I don't like her hot take, or I don't like her opinions, which is fine, because remember, you're not for everyone. You're for the people that are wanting to work with you. So this kind of stuff like repels people or brings people in. You want to have those questions that kind of stop the scroll and make someone think about the pattern that they've been going on. You know, if they've been trying something so long and it's not working, when they see that you are talking about, this is the part of the buyer's journey where it's, this is the part of the buyer's journey where you start talking about ideal client, like who you want to work with and the type of things that they've already tried. Those you can do pattern, you could do questions that make them stop. Like, I'll give you a perfect example right now. As I'm recording this, there's something called a Yap Challenge, right? There's a lot of people talking about yapping online and basically talking about how they could get more clients and stuff like that from talking more. But that's not for everybody, right? If you are a coach or you are someone who focuses on specific social media strategy, you could be like, yapping challenge isn't for everyone. That is a very bold and hot take, right? And then also you can be like, have you considered doing the yapping challenge? And that's a question that stops the scroll, because someone could be like, oh yeah, I thought about it. Then you can go in depth and go in conversation with them and talk to them and ask them why, like, what is it? And then you can start moving them over to your nurturing platform. Do you see what I'm saying? That's one of the best ways to take all these people that are seeing you and like looking at the things that you do and moving them over to nurture. And the last thing is you want to give them a small, like, valuable taste of what you do on your posting, because they need to see that why you're different, what you do is different. They need to be able to see you for you, right? And the thing that doesn't work in the attract content in the attract platform that you're choosing, or your top funnel platform, is they don't want long educational carousel posts. I know, I post them. I do a cross posting, which is fine, but that's not like my main thing. I like to keep all my deep personal stories over on my Instagram in my stories. And most of the time my like pitches do happen. I have a CTA in every single post, but most of the time you want to move people over to follow you on Instagram or whatever you're nurturing. I will tell you that when I post most of my things on Threads, which is my visibility, attract, or top funnel, however you want to say it, is when I post about my business, I always have a pitch, like especially on the buyer's journey of consideration and decision making. Again, this is all about figuring out which platform your content and your message is going to slap for people to see you and for you to be visible. This isn't about, converting people. That's like We're going to talk about that later, but this is where we want to move people into working with you or being on a wait list or something. It could be a freebie, or they just want something that is, why should I pick you along, like over someone else? And the last thing we're going to talk about is being consistent. Your attract/top funnel platform is, you have to show up so the right people find you and there's enough information out there for them to follow you. What that means is you have to be consistently posting on that platform. Now, I want to be very clear about something, is social media should not be draining you. If it is draining you and you feel drained about it and you're over it and you're like, I can't believe I have to be online. This is like, I hate being online, but I know I have to be. One, these shoulds and the haves need to go away. Being able to be online is a gift. Being able to share your offer, being able to share your gift to others is a gift for others. I know I said gift there like 4 times, but it's the truth. When we change our mindset to, I get to be online because I get to share my gift to others, everything changes. And so when you show up with the mentality of, I get to bless others with the knowledge I've been given to potentially have them turn into clients. It is, to me, it's the greatest thing to be able to bless others with the gift of knowing what to say online, what to say confidently and not be stressed out every single time they have to post. That is a gift because that's a gift I have. I am on Threads every single day and I am on Instagram every single day. That is a choice. I'm having fun again. I'm understanding my humor again. I have unfollowed so many social media strategists and all these strategists. Why? Because I want to pick just one person that I'm going to listen to. It took me a long time to get here. And so I want you to think that people need to, when they find you, they need to see your posts that are going to hit them in their heart, in their gut, and tell them like, wow, like this is specific, that this person is for me. Think of like your attract/top funnel platform as a storefront. Okay. If someone walks by and scrolls and stops to look at your stuff and it's not attractive enough and it's not speaking to them, they're just going to keep going. So here we're not trying to go viral. Here we're just trying to be findable, if that's a word. We want people to find us and follow us. That's it. Nothing else. We're not converting them, nothing. We want to make sure that we are super attractive with what we post and what we share. And again, this is what I teach you inside Spark the Conversation Challenge. I make sure that you know the words to say to make your people say, she is for me. So go down in the show notes and click the link to sign up. It's absolutely free. And it's going to walk you through, as I've mentioned, it's going to walk you through a 5-day challenge through email for you to be able to really find those specific words your people say. And if you already know that this is something you don't want to figure out yourself and you want me to do all the work to go deeper, do all the research, get the words, and be able to give you exact words to put in your content so you stop guessing what to say. That's what my Done For You messaging and positioning playbook is all about. It's a 7-day intensive and it starts at $2,000. The link is in the show notes, or you can slide into my DMs on my Instagram at Your Messaging Rebirth and just tell me that you found me on the podcast and that you're interested in learning more about my Done For You services. So next week, we're going to go deeper because finding your people is only step 1. Step 2 is what you do once they're watching. We're talking about nurturing content. This is the type of content that you can either use on Instagram or email or, TikTok, whatever it is that you choose. And this is how we build those real relationships with people. And people skip this, and it's why they don't have their content turning into buyers. And so this episode next week is going to talk more in depth about it. So make sure that you subscribe and that you don't forget to review this podcast. And remember that you don't have a content problem. You have a placement problem. You're in the wrong place to attract the right people. So let's say the right words and attract the right people in order to grow our businesses with the right message. I'll see you next week.